Good morning, baseball way of lifers. It is an historic day. Yes, today, the baseball Utopian Baseball Universe is now being simulcast on New York Mets Baseball Way of Life. Yes, we're going to keep the New York Mets Baseball Way of Life moniker, the title of the show. But what we're going to do is have the Utopian Baseball Universe broadcast on there Monday and Friday. And we're going to be adding baseball content as we go along. There's going to be exciting news coming along in the next few months. And I think Joey will be part of it. We're hoping he will be part of it, but there's more to come on that later on. But today's a big day. It's the end of the season for the Utopian Baseball Universe, and Joey's got all kind of information he wants to share to us. The conclusion of the season, he's got a game this morning, so after this, you can hop on board and watch that on his site. And the playoffs begin this week. Big Wildcard Wednesday. But I don't know as much about this as Joey does, so let's go to the expert itself, Joey. Joey, what's going on this week?
All right, good morning, Stan. So today at 9 o'clock, so in about an hour and a half or so, we're going to conclude our regular season with a game 157. So at the end of the regular season, which was scheduled to finish yesterday, the Blue Jays and Red Sox finished with identical records at the top of the Utopian Baseball Universe East Division. So today at 9 a.m., it's going to be the Blue Jays and Red Sox from Fenway Park, Juan Guzman versus Pedro Martinez. Now, this isn't winner take all because the winner is going to have home field in the East Division Championship Series, but the loser is still in the postseason, and they're going to host the wild card game against the Nationals on Wednesday, and that's at 1 o'clock. So our postseason officially kicks off on Wednesday with a quadruple header. All four games will be live on Facebook and YouTube, kicking off at 8 a.m. with the North Division wildcard game between the Pirates and Indians, the East Division wildcard game, which is going to be the Nationals in either Toronto or Boston. And then at 5 o'clock, we have the Tampa Bay Rays at the Durham Bulls. And then at 10 p.m. Central Time, it's the Padres and Angels, and Shohei Ohtani is going to be pitching for the Angels that night. So the next couple days are going to be crazy. Our championship series kick off with 3 games on Friday. We've got a preview show tonight at 6:30. That's going to go for about 45 minutes or so. We're going to preview all 4 wildcard games. We're going to look at some statistical leaders for the year. Look at the division winners. So just a bunch of fun things happening in the Utopian starting at 9 o'clock this morning.
Okay, is there anything in particular you're really excited about as far as this week? Any particular matchup or anything that you love about the playoffs that you'd like to share?
Well, the game 157 is exciting. Last year we actually had a game 157 between the Padres and Diamondbacks for the right to just make the playoffs. They finished tied for 3rd in the West, so the winner made the playoffs. The loser actually had to go home, and it was a very exciting game. I think the Diamondbacks scored 8 runs in the 3rd inning to seal that win. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere at Fenway Park today. I've got Mitch Nellis from the Utopian Baseball Universe, and he does his own show on Facebook Live every morning at 7 a.m. He's going to kick off the proceedings this morning. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Wildcard Wednesday is one of my favorite days of the Utopian year because all 4 games, it's the only day of our season where you're guaranteed 4 game streams. So again, the times are 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. I've also reached out to fans of each of the 12 teams that have made the playoffs. So hopefully we're going to see some familiar faces from our team preview shows in March that are going to actually be on camera rooting for their teams as we head to a eventual Utopian Baseball Universe champion in season 2. What's exciting is we have 4 teams that made the playoffs last year qualify this year. Last year's champion Braves, the Cincinnati Reds with the best record in the universe at 97-59. The Boston Red Sox and the Los Angeles Angels are a wild card for the 2nd straight year. So it's going to be a really fun next 4 weeks in the Utopian Baseball Universe.
Cool deal. Now, you mentioned your friend Mitch Nellis is going to be on the broadcast today, and you said he has a show on Facebook at 7 a.m. Can you tell us a little about that? Mitch probably won't mind us promoting it.
Yeah, actually, so Mitch, since June 1st, 2020, he's done a show on Facebook Live called A Little Thunder. Mitch is a former radio personality here in the Milwaukee area. He was on the radio for, I want to say 15 years, maybe 20 years or so. So he does his own show at 7 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday. He talks sports, but he also talks about community. It's just a nice way to kind of rally the troops in the morning, get everyone going. They have a theme on Mondays, Eat the Frog, about, doing that hard thing to start off your week. So I've known Mitch now for, I want to say 12 years. Mitch was one of the first members of the Utopian Baseball Universe when we launched last March. So he's been a big supporter of us. And as soon as the Red Sox clinched, I said, I got to get Mitch on the show. He's been on our show probably half a dozen times in the last year or so. So, yeah, you can check out Mitch. It's I think the Facebook page is Mitch Nellis .mke or Mitch Nellis MKE. I'll actually later today I'll throw up another link for that probably after the game this morning. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to get him on the air to kick off the festivities from Fenway Park.
Now, Mitch is a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, he's originally from the Boston area. He moved here to the Milwaukee area, I believe, in grade school or high school. So he's been here since, I want to say, the late 80s, early 90s. Big Red Sox fan, Patriots fan, Packers fan, Brewers fan, Bucks fan. I think his wife is a big Atlanta Braves fan. So just a lot of sports. It's gonna be a fun show.
The reason why I asked if he was a Red Sox fan, I was wondering if he's going to be in a good state of mind after this weekend. It wasn't exactly the Boston Massacre, but the Red Sox played well. They just unfortunately lost 3 tough games to the Yankees. The good news is they got the Orioles and the Nationals to finish out the season. So no panic in Red Sox land yet. I usually I have a chock full of questions about the Utopian Baseball Universe, but today I'm blank. Not because you basically answered all my questions so far. And to be honest with you, I'm just excited about looking forward to the playoffs. And I'm going to try and tune into that broadcast today. It should be fun. Anything else you want to add about the Utopian?
No, just really excited for the postseason to start. Today's broadcast is going to be fun because I spent about an hour last night actually creating custom players. Usually what I do is if, let's say David Ortiz is playing first base for the Red Sox, I just find a left-handed batter to play first. But I actually created a David Ortiz last night that has the same height, same weight, similar batting stance. It's going to say Ortiz on the back. The only thing, and I know at least one person's going to call me out on this, Ted Williams cannot wear number 9 on the jersey because the game doesn't allow me to use retired numbers for specific franchises. So I can't use 9. I can't use 3 for Babe Ruth. So if the Yankees aren't in the playoffs, but so you'll see the name, you'll see them in position. So that'll be fun. It'll have a little bit more realistic look to it. Sometimes people get confused, and I'll say, Sammy Sosa's up, but it's actually Cespedes. And then we're like, why are you saying Sosa? And I'm like, you just got to pretend for like 20 minutes here. So, yeah, it's just going to be fun. Today's broadcast, again, we had one last year. It's not winner take all because the loser's still in the postseason, but the winner gets to set up their pitching. They get a game 1 in the championship series for the division. So we'll see. It's just going to be a fun next 4 weeks as we crown our second champion.
Well, that's good. And it's good getting into that playoff form as far as mentally every fan is getting in for next week. We can get a little taste of the playoffs this week with your Utopian playoff structure. Anything else going on in the world of sports that you want to talk about?
Well, the NFL is always fun. I actually, not that this show is about this at all, but I did go 3-0 in fantasy football yesterday. So that's
you
always
are
fun.
rocking it. I think the last week we spoke, you won two in 3 leagues. Is that what it is?
Yeah, actually, well, last week I went 3-0 as well. I went 1-2 week 1, and then the last 2 weeks I've gone 3-0. So I'm 7-2 combined for the 3 weeks. And one of my oldest friends I played yesterday, and every time my team scored a touchdown, I just sent him a GIF of that player. And then the last thing I just sent him was a picture of a pro wrestler just saying, like, acknowledge me. Because I can see he sees my messages, but he wasn't responding. And I'm like, I want you to acknowledge me, Greg.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing when you want people to acknowledge you. It means you're doing well. That was always my thing with fantasy. Like if I had like 2 or 3 losing weeks to begin with, it's like being a Jet or a Giant fan here on the East Coast. You start losing your appetite. But it's good when you're off to a good start. It really makes you play the game more intensely as the weeks come up. So I'm assuming you're on top of the standings in all 3 leagues.
I'm 3-0 in one league, 2-1 in the other 2. So in the other 2, we have undefeated teams. So I am in first place in one, and third or fourth in the others. But it should be a fun season. I also want to say too, I did go to the Brewers game on Friday, and that was a lot of fun. We were if you're
Joey,
familiar with Miller Park.
Shut up. We'll talk about that with the 5 questions.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you're probably answering my first 2 questions right here anyway. So we're really going to make this a short.
I'll act surprised.
Yeah, act surprised. Take two. Anything else going on in the world?
Not really. Like I said, just excited to provide the postseason content that's coming up. I'm going to be posting in the next 10 days to 2 weeks the rest of my custom baseball card set to the Utopian Baseball Universe group. I created 1,200 cards for the year, and I think I've uploaded like 950 of them. So the rest of those are going to be uploaded in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So just keeping busy and having fun with the project.
And Joey does a good job with those cards. He even had the ability to make me look good on a card earlier in the year. So when I say I look good on a card, that means everybody looks good on a card. He does a good job with them and takes a lot of time and effort to put those through. So check him out if you get a chance. He puts them up on his site there on the Utopian Baseball Universe on Facebook. All right, Joey, let's cut to the questions because I think you're starting. But if I go in here, you're going to answer all 5 before we even get to the questions. All right. First question. How about those Cleveland Browns?
How about those Browns? A very convincing win yesterday in Cleveland. They beat the Chicago Bears 26-6. I think at one point they said they had outgained them yards-wise, like 320-50. They had 9 sacks. Myles Garrett had a Cleveland Brown record 4.5 sacks yesterday on his own. With the Chiefs 1-2, the Patriots lost yesterday.
The Ravens are playing shaky too. They barely won yesterday.
Yeah, Cleveland's looking really good. I'm not one to say that they should have won week 1. They played very well. I'm very proud of the way they played week 1. They're right on track with what I thought they would be. I said 13-4 at the beginning of the season. I still think they're a top 3 or 4 team in the NFL right now. So it's very good to be a Cleveland Browns fan on this particular Monday morning.
It's been a long time since people could say that, but this could be a good year for them. Magical year. Long overdue. Number 2. The highlights of your Friday night trip to see the Brewers and Mets are?
So many great things to talk about. We actually, it was raining when we got there. So I'm going to talk about the highlights and the lowlights. I actually had, there was one thing that happened. I'll get to that here in a second, but very fun atmosphere. My girlfriend and I were wearing Mets shirts. Her daughters were wearing Brewer shirts, and we had a friendly wager. I said to her daughters, if the Mets win tonight, you guys have to join the Utopian Baseball Universe. And if they lose, I'll do a live video on my Facebook page saying that the Brewers are the better team. Now, the great thing about it is we both got what we wanted because they were good sports. The Brewers did win the game, so I did my video, but then they joined anyway. So I said, thank you. I'm going to promote your Instagrams and your Snapchats and anything you guys do on social. But it was fun just to be at the game. I forgot how pricey food was. I actually got 2 brats, two hot dogs, and 2 sodas, expecting it to be,
$50.
$25 or whatever. It was 43.
Yeah.
And I actually jokingly said, "Oh, I'm not paying for the people behind me. It's just for me, just these 6 items." But walking back to the car, it was pouring. And I even said to my girlfriend, I said, "Let me hold your hand so neither one of us fall." And then I slipped. And for about 48 hours, my back was just
Oh,
tight.
no. How's
But
it
I'm
now?
fine.
Oh,
Yeah, it
good.
wasn't like an injury per se, but it's like it really threw it. I remember that night being in a lot of pain, but so much fun to be back in Miller Park or whatever they're calling it these days. And can't wait to see some games next year.
Yeah. I mean, soda, when I go to City Field, soda's $7, but I've circumvented paying for it because they have what they call a designated driver reward program. So if you sign up for that, you get a voucher for a free soda all the time. So you got to sign up, and then they email you the code. And then I've become very friendly with the girl who gives out the coupons. So like 10 minutes later, I show her the same email like 2 other times. So I always get like free sodas. But I hope the Mets aren't watching and Budweiser's not watching because they probably get her in trouble. But that's how I get my free soda at game because it can really be expensive. Just having like basic food, a hot dog and a soda is like $15 there. So
Yeah,
I
it's
feel your
crazy.
pain on that. It's crazy. And that's like my friend always says, like, oh, so and so's giving me free tickets to a game. But I ended up spending $100 when I was there. So there is no such thing as a free game per se.
Yeah.
Number 3, your favorite sports month of the year is?
Huh, that's a good question. I've never really been asked this. I guess there's 2 months that stick out for me. Number one, I love March because of March Madness. And then, it's the start of baseball, usually opening days at end of March. Utopian Baseball Universe always starts in March. But I also love October because uh, playoff baseball, football is kind of in full swing. So I guess if I had to choose, I guess I would say October.
And that's what I go with too. It's just the play of baseball. Even my team is never in it, and they haven't been in it now for what, 5 years. I love playoff baseball. Sometimes I'm more interested in the playoffs when the Mets aren't involved because it's not from a fan standpoint. I can enjoy the games. And like you, it's the football thing too, which basically, if you're a sports viewer like I am, it almost works out so you get football on Sunday, Monday night, and then baseball Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and sometimes they'll have games on Friday, and then it's just almost every night there's a big game in either the NFL or baseball. So that's what I always go with. I go with October all the time, and it's one of my favorite months seasonally too. So it ties everything together for me.
Yeah.
And since we're doing this, it's almost like a breakfast thing we're doing. We don't know what you eat for breakfast. Do you even have a favorite breakfast sandwich?
So I actually, and I am not apologetic for this. I love, and I think it's a newer item at McDonald's. I love the McGriddle.
Oh, that the pancake thing. It's been around,
Yeah.
but what I used to get from McDonald's, and my wife kills me. Sometimes I'm working from home. I'm not allowed out of the house till 11 a.m. because she knows I'm sneaking out, and then I come back with McDonald's breath. But the McGriddles is good because it's pancakey and it fills you up. I mean, it's a meal in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's,
now go
I
ahead, Joey.
actually
I'm
remember
sorry.
no, I was going to say the first time I ordered two and I didn't even get to the second one. So now I know not to make that mistake. But yeah, I love that McGriddle. I probably have one a month, usually on a Sunday morning before a Packers game. And I haven't had one in a while. So I think we're going to have to figure something. My birthday's this weekend. So maybe I'll treat myself on Sunday.
Put a candle in the McGriddle and celebrate like there's no tomorrow. Yeah, I love I have all the places to go for fast food and everything for breakfast. McDonald's is the king as far as I'm concerned. I like McDonald's more for breakfast than I do for lunch, actually.
Yeah,
And
me too.
here they used to have the bacon, egg, and cheese bagel, but they kind of limited that when the pandemic came. I don't know if it was because of the pandemic, because they couldn't get bagels, but they never had it back on. But that at one time. Now we know Joey's always taunting Weezer. He loves Weezer. What is your favorite Weezer album?
For me, it would have to be Pinkerton. That was their second album. The first one is fantastic. It's almost a perfect power pop album, but the second one, what I love about it is, um, you take a band like Weezer, who was really hot in like the mid '90s, and you would think, coming off the success of the second album, that they would try to duplicate that, come up with something very similar, and they just did something completely different. They actually recorded a rock opera called "Songs from the Black Hole," and it was so out there that they completely scrapped it, went back into the studio and did Pinkerton, and critics hated it. Fans even didn't like it at first, but it's become kind of a cult classic. It's the only Weezer album I own on vinyl, and I've probably, and I'm not exaggerating here, I probably listened to that thing 1,000 times in my life. I love it. It's perfect.
Wow. Yeah, vinyl's making a big comeback. I was shocked. I was going to get some vinyl too, because we do have a record player. I didn't realize how expensive vinyl is these days. It's not a cheap accessory to listen to music to anymore. Yeah, but my wife's a big Weezer fan. She loves Weezer, and so by osmosis I hear a lot, and I become a fan. So I like your choices there. That's it for the 5 questions. You never know. I keep begging for sponsors, and it looks like some people want to sponsor this show. And I think they're doing it based on 45 minutes. But you know what? Sometimes it's not the length of the show. It's the powerfulness of the information shared in the show. So whether it's 45 minutes or 22 minutes, sponsor us. You'll be glad you did. And like I said, there are big things on the horizon. And fingers crossed, it looks like Joey may be part of some of the big things. There'll be big announcements to come. I put a feeler out there on the baseball group the other day, and just giving you a taste of what it may be, but it'll be things you haven't seen before. And like I said today, well, you're seeing things that you've never seen before, but in that reality, you're going to hear things you've never heard before. Because as we're speaking, I'm doing a simulcast of this YouTube cast on my podcast, and that should be uploaded in about 15 minutes. So we're going to be all over on all platforms. This guy and me, we're going to conquer the world with this Utopian Baseball Universe. So, Joey, I want to thank you and good luck. It's an exciting week in Utopian Baseball Universe. Congrats on your Browns. And Joey didn't even know I was going to ask him the Browns hat. So I think this guy's a little psychic, because look at the hat he's wearing today. I think he knows ahead of time. There you go. Sure. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he's doing it all. I can't fool this guy. I can't stump this guy. It's like stump the band. I can't come up with a song that stumps him. But Joey, is always a pleasure. And like I said, tune in this morning, 9 o'clock, and it's a big week on the Utopian Baseball Universe. And like I said, Joey also has these all archived on YouTube too. And Friday, I'll be returning the favor on his show, and that'll be at, I always like to say your time so we all don't get confused, 7:30 Central Time for Joey, 8:30 for me. And we'll have a lot to talk about because it's a big playoff week there, so tune in. And Joey will have 5 questions for me. Hopefully, I'll be able to answer 1 or 2 of them. So, Joey, again, thanks. And as we said before the broadcast, touch base with me this week about the big plans we have. Okay?
Very excited. Yeah, Stan and I have some major things brewing in the kitchen. So, looking forward to sharing that with the viewers here at Baseball Away Live very soon.
It's going to be fun. All right, Joey, take care of yourself. Have a good day. Have a good week, and we'll talk on Friday.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care, guys.